What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you Fletchings how to draw the human face, head, the tempest, the nugget, whatever you call it. We're going to do it today, so get ready for this. All right, it's a simple method. It's actually the Loomis method. You know, he's one of those great artists that you call a god, whatever, blah blah blah. Loomis. First thing you want to do, most of you already know this, make sure you get a circle on the paper. And I don't mean like an oval or a rock shape or you know, a triangle. I want a circle. You know, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but at least try to get it as circle-like as possible. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, it can be a little wonky. You know, just a little bit wonky. The Andrew Loomis method was like this. So, say you had a three-dimensional sphere for the head, right? Basically, what you would do is you would slice off this side of the head to get that tapering. Down towards the chin, and that just shows that the sides of the head are actually flat in comparison to like the top of the, like where your temple is, and it goes back is kind of round. The sides are pretty flat. All right, we did another angle. Let's say we're looking at a face from a 3/4 angle or something. All right, the head is flat, just like that. All right, just circle down. Always just try to take a couple whacks at it, you know, just take a couple whammies just to kind of get your hand into the motion of it. All right, so first thing you're gonna do, or at least what I like to do, is I like to throw the vertical line down face first to split the face in half, right in the kisser, right there. And then you want to throw your horizontal right across that. And there you go. So once you get these lines down, the vertical and the horizontal, you're gonna want to decide how small or how narrow you want your face. So basically for the horizontal, that's gonna decide how wide your face is or how slim your face is. And then for the vertical line, that's gonna decide more how long your face is or short your face is. Do you want to be like a grumpy old man, or you want to be like a young spunky lass kind of thing going on? That's what's gonna, that's the effect it's gonna have when you decide the length and width of your face. And always use a reference. I use Pinterest. Pinterest is like the holy grail for references. Circle, and then you would decide, all right, I want my face pretty average. I'll make a pretty average face. Just slice those bad boys off. And that might be a little wider than I wanted. Make it a little slimmer. A little slimmer. A little slim thick. All right, there you go. And once you get those vertical lines down, you might be confused as to, well, where do we put the horizontal lines? Now, there are two ways you can put the horizontal line. Some people like to decide where they put the horizontal line to maybe make the person's nose a little higher or a little lower, a little longer, etc. You can also make your forehead a little bit higher or lower, bigger. You know, if you want a billboard forehead, that's your thing. If you've got a head that big, you know, I won't judge you. All right, and the way you decide these dimensions for the forehead and where the nose lands is by dropping these lines right here. So, one, you could do it the way that some people do, where you just say, all right, I want the nose to be up here, and then you'd have like a nose right there, right? And then say, I want a small forehead. I want like a small cute forehead. I don't want a 5 head. That's too big for me. You could put your line right there. I don't like to do that though, because every time I do that, my face always comes out like this. Just imagine if you just squish my head like a piece of Play-Doh, and that's my head. So I didn't like that. So instead, I decided to follow basically the baseline. So wherever this line is right here, I would follow that. And then I try to get these two vertical lines as close to that without breaking it as possible. So wherever the vertical lines hit on the sphere, that's where you're gonna cut it off if you want to follow, if you want to use the way I use. And as you can see, my forehead in this is a little bigger. I like foreheads quite large because I like to put a lot of hair, and I like to have a little room to do that. Whenever I make the forehead too small, it feels too crowded. What's left is to decide your chin. How big is your chin gonna be? And the way you decide that, or the way you figure that out, is by taking the distance between here, the center of the face basically, and then the bottom of this line right here. And that right there, this gap, that's the width of your chin. Or you can use the brow. I mean you could use the forehead your chin will be a lot, for me, my chin will be a little bit longer if I use the forehead because I made it just a little bit bigger. But you know, like I said, I like my foreheads. And that's how you decide that. So go ahead and just draw that in there. And remember guys, you know, people's faces are different. Follow that reference as close as possible. Don't follow it exactly, because art is really about adjusting to what you're seeing. Like if something doesn't look right, just don't draw it. Because if you draw it, then you can have a trash art. Simple as that. You draw it kind of like this, that's what you're gonna get. All right. Sometimes you gotta use your little this nugget, that nugget you got in there. Use that nugget, and it'll get you by. All right. So next, once you get the length of that chin, you drop the chin line, or some people like to find the nose. Find your nose first, right? And you can use a triangle. I like to use triangles for the noses, and just because it's an easier example or a simpler form for what a nose is supposed to be shaped like. And the way you decide the width of your chin, you know, the old cat and chin, you decide that by just finding the full width of the nose, and then you just follow that down to wherever your chin line is. That's why I like to make the chin line a little smaller and then go ahead and measure in the width of the nose. Because if you do make your chin too wide, like on a female, like even though a woman's nose might be the biggest thing you've ever seen, she might have a Pinocchio thing going on, but doesn't mean you want her chin to be that wide, right? It's gonna make her look like a dude. You know? Next, what I like to go to is where the chin would start to taper off. So where would the chin start to do this? Like, you know, it goes like this, and then it starts to come down towards the chin, that V-line. Now, if you just try to do it by hand, you can do it through practice, obviously, but sometimes it tends to come out really flat looking, and your chin starts to get really long. You know what I mean? So I would find the halfway point between the nose and the bottom of the chin. Wait, that was a terrible line. The nose and the bottom of the chin. These 2 points right here. Find that halfway point, right? I'll say it's right there. Just so I can have a little room for the lips. That's my halfway point. And when you bring these 2 lines down right here, you want to taper them off, right? Taper them off a little bit as you're coming in. And then once you get those straight lines down, you bring from the corner of your chin up to that point as close as possible. As best as you can, honestly. As best as you can. Next, when I'm drawing the face, is to figure out where your ears are, alright? Easy as possible. The ears start at this right here. That's the brow line. That's where your ear would start. And your ear would end right down here. Or right at this line. That's the nose line. So, and the ear can generally be the shape of like what's missing from the head. So you see this little space right here. The ear can kind of blend into that. I like to just push them out a little bit farther. Go ahead, bring that here. Bring this here. Now you've got your ear. And the ears, you can make them bigger if you want. Like I said, some people have elephant ears. If they've got elephant ears, draw their elephant ears. That's them. Be prideful. Have pride in your eardrums, which is what a lot of people like to get to, is the eyes. Now, when I draw the eyes, I use halfway points a lot. It'll give your drawings a lot of structure and balance. Here, say this, I'm doing the face again. That's a halfway point, right? Got your forehead, got your chin, and then for the mouth, halfway point. For the eyebrows, I like to go halfway point, and then say you've got your eyes down already, right? Let's say just these 2 things are eyes, right? These 2 squares are eyes, right? I like to find the halfway point between the distance from here to here to here. So from this corner of this eye and the corner of this eye, the space between the eyes, I like to find that halfway point. And that's where the brows would start. Because you do have to remember your eyebrow past your lids on both sides. Halfway. And you can mark these lines. What I had to do was mark lines all the time, just so I could always remember. And there's nothing wrong with that. Your art might be a little bit messier, but if you mark your lines lightly, you should be okay. So basically, this would be the how high the eyebrows are, and this would be how wide they are, or wide apart from each other they are. All right. Got those. All right, next is the eyes. And like I said before with the halfway point thing, so this would be the base of the nose, right? Right down here. That line right there. This would be the top of it. What I would do, right, is mark the halfway point between those two. Or about halfway. It really all depends on how big your how big your eyes are gonna be, really. If you want bigger eyes, you can bring them down a little bit. Right? And then once you get that point that you like your eyes to be, I like to literally just bring it over. Bring it all the way over to the other side of the faces. And the only reason why I do this is because whenever I draw the face, I tend to push the eyes maybe one side too far this way, the other one too far this way, or a lot of people make mistakes of putting one eye too high, one eye too low, right? But with this little rectangle shape you have here, this is your max height, and this is the bottom or the max depth of your of how low your eye can go, how high your eye should go. So you really shouldn't go beyond these 2 points or these 2 lines right here. You've got a nice rectangle that keeps you within that boundary. Right? And then for the width of for the size of each eye, each eye is the width of your nose. Simple as that. If you've got a big nose, you've got big eyes. Plain and simple. So you just measure the distance between here and here, and that's the width of your nose. Now you can make it smaller because sometimes it can take up more room on your it can take up more room than you want to on your face, but I mean honestly it generally works itself out for the most part. And then you just, once you get the measurement for that, you just go ahead and drop that point there. And this always, sometimes it's good to just rooster up a little bit and just like look down at the drawing from a further angle, because you'll kind of see some errors you might have made. You know what I'm saying? But hey, don't worry, mistakes are meant to be made. You know, you wouldn't get better if you didn't make any mistakes. Either that or you're a prodigy, so I don't know. I don't know what you are, but yeah. So now you've got the distance for your eyes, and you can throw some eyes in there. Let's just give it the generic. Let's zoom in on this a little bit for you guys. Give it the. Oh, also, hold on. I got something good for you right now. Okay. When you're drawing the eye, the whole point of making these 2 rectangles right here, is so that you have a little bit of structure and try to put like a halfway point, again, the halfway point thing, right between the sides of those rectangles that you have right there. So let me just show you guys that real quick. So basically, this would be where that corner of your eye on the inside meets each other, and this could possibly, like, you want it right here. That could be where the eyes meet out on that side. And there you go. And then there are 6 types of eyes that you can draw that I like to use. At least there's 6 different shapes, but we're just gonna go with the pretty basic one, the old beautiful one, the rhombus. You've got your nose. You can do a little bit of fine tuning on this too. So the reason why I like to draw the nose as a triangle, because now all you have to do is put your nostrils in. And then for lips, let's just give her some generic kissers. Let's give her the generic kissers. Yeah, the generic kissers. Got your lip down here. And I'll do tutorials. I'm going to do tutorials on how to draw, these more specific parts of the body, or the more specific parts of the face, so the eyes, the nose, etc. Yada, yada, yada. Now you've got your lip right there. And that's pretty much it, honestly. And then I guess another tip, is, so for the width of your lips, right? If you're having problems making your lips too big or too small, remember, your lips are literally just, so the width of your lips, find the center of your eyes, right? Like if you were to slice your eyes in half, and then those center points of each eye, you bring them down, and that's how you get the full width of your lips. This is it, guys. Thank you for watching my video. Leave a comment, like, a subscription, and you can check me out at 40owl on Instagram. You know, just if you want to, you know, just check me out on Instagram. You'll see more of my finished artwork there. And you guys just have a nice day. You know, learn to fly, practice these techniques as much as you can. You know, try to rewatch videos to just remember exactly where these points really go, and you guys will be all right. All right, I'll see you in the next one.